UCF fans, Brian Smith here, bringing you the Daily Night. Sorry for the late edition. I was traveling back from the Louisville game, had a flight that came in a little later in the evening, so I'm just now getting home. But I did want to discuss Gus Malzahn's press conference and a few of the things that I've looked into, watching some film, watching Gus's press conference numerous times. I was surprised by a couple of different things, and it all relates to one particular player. That would be Mikey Keene. This is a young man that is now going to be the starting quarterback for the Knights. He is going to be entrusted with an offense that can score a lot of points, but he is a true freshman. So I'm going to do a full deep dive into Mikey tomorrow with an article that's going to lead off the day. And it's, just overview of what he can and can't do kind of stuff. It's just bottom line, situationally, arm strength, what his style is, his size, his arm strength is only a part of it because he's accurate, yada, yada. There's a lot of different things. That article will be up tomorrow, and it's going to be a part of Inside the Knights. But before I get into that, and I'll do more tomorrow on the podcast that will also be in the article, two things that I want to discuss. Number one is with Gus Malzahn and what he said. You could just tell by the way Gus discussed him, he has a genuine interest in just seeing how good this kid's going to be right away. You can tell that Coach Malzahn is comfortable, which really shocked me. Anytime you put the words freshman and quarterback in the same sentence, you get nervous because you're afraid the next thing they're going to say, he's starting. I don't care what team you follow, what team you like, what team you hate. Freshman quarterback starting is almost always bad. It's the hardest position in college athletics, and it gets the most attention. So how well will Mikey Keene handle that? How well will his teammates adjust? Those are the things I want to talk about briefly tonight. Not going to make this a real long podcast. I just want to hit this straight to the point. But how well they adjust, and I wrote about this a little bit, how well the team adjusts from this point forward with seeing Gus announcing, hey, this is the guy. It's not just we saw it a little bit in practice Sunday, Monday, etc. How well do they adjust? Everybody from Kalia Davis on the defensive line, Jalen Robinson on the receiver corps, you've got to find a way to adjust, and it's going to take longer for some guys than others. You can't force someone to feel comfortable with the new quarterback, especially when Dylan Gabriel was the last guy, and he's probably going to end up getting paid to play a quarterback at the next level. So you have to look at it from a couple of different perspectives. Leadership is first and foremost, and I'm talking about the players only here. Right now, until I say otherwise, I'm just talking about players. They have to find a way to keep everybody focused. Now, Gus Malzahn, when he's up in front of the podium, isn't going to say, hey, the players didn't buy into him. There's just zero chance that's going to happen. I'm not stupid. But you could also tell that he felt comfortable with everything that was going on. Again, that shocked me. But if there is at any point this week or next week when it becomes truly Navy week, because we get 2 weeks to prepare here for that next game on the road, they have to make sure that the players that are out of line aren't comfortable with something. It needs to get corrected. I don't care the reason. I don't care who's wrong. I don't care who's mad. I don't care, period. The reason for that, Mikey Keene has to be comfortable above all else. And I know that's not fair. Too bad. Do it anyway. The quarterback position is just more important. That's just the value. And it's why I always argue with these recruiting rankings. If you don't even take a quarterback in your recruiting class, to me, you can't have a top 3 recruiting class. I don't care if you got five-star D linemen. It's not a complete class. Got to have quarterback. That's why I look at this as an interesting situation. All these experienced players on defense, especially in the front 7, where 6 of the 7 guys are at least in their 3rd year of college football, how well do they adapt? Are they going to lead? Are they going to be happy with him? I have no idea. A couple of practices doesn't mean diddly. They're going to know by early next week if this young man can really spin it, understand the offense, and actually score points in a game. Now, they're not going to talk to the media about that at all. And they would, if they didn't like him, they'd be told flat out to avoid it. Flat out. That's what all college athletic departments do, and UCF's not going to be any different. They have, the need to protect the brand. In the NFL, they call it protect the shield. In other words, lie. At all costs, do not tell people negative things. That's what they tell kids to do. And that's why very few guys are allowed to even get up at the podium for any institution, Georgia to USC to Minnesota to Maryland. It doesn't matter. They want guys that are going to say very positive things about the institution. So you got to dig deeper and look at it this way. If something goes wrong, he has a really bad practice. How well do the players at UCF react? And how well will that translate to the next practice and the Navy game? I'm just going to kind of leave it at that because I don't have an answer for it. Neither does even a particular player at UCF right now. That's my only concern with this. I've been watching film. I don't know how many times I've watched his high school highlights, but I really like him as a player. And again, I'll talk specifically about him just as a player. All the stuff I'm talking about right now, zero tomorrow in the article. It's just going to be about Mikey, the football player. But right now, it's just the philosophical side because I find it fascinating, and it's why I'm so interested in football. It is the ultimate team sport. You can hate the guy next to you as long as you respect him and play with him. You may like the guy next to you, but if you don't respect him as a player, you're in deep trouble. I have no idea how they're going to look at Mikey, and I hope it goes well. I have no insight one way or the other, but a freshman taking over, there could be some guys concerned. He's got a very veteran offensive line. They want to finish out their senior year doing well. Most of those guys are going to be gone after this year. I don't know what the running back situation is. It would really help Mikey and UCF in general if Isaiah was back and not just to tote the football, but most important thing, and Gus, I mentioned this to him, and I know a couple other guys have talked to Gus about this at press conferences. Isaiah is a complete running back because he blocks. And when I say blocks, that means he understands what's coming, he executes it, and he does it over and over and over and over again. Mikey's going to miss some blitz protection calls and some other things that are all techie. I'm not going to get into it. Isaiah has a chance, not only because he's 225, he's a big dude. Isaiah has a chance to clean that up, those kinds of things, and he'll take it in stride. He's a very, very respectful young man, and he's a leader. Isaiah is the kind of guy you want on your team. So just from that, I hope Isaiah plays, even if he didn't run the ball one time against Navy, which obviously would be realistic. He can help so much in pass protection. I do not trust younger running backs when they're playing a team that's like bringing a guy up, bringing a guy back, moving parts, because if they go the wrong direction, the quarterback gets smashed. The ball comes out. Your quarterbacks are one play. That's why young running backs struggle in college football if you're playing a blitzing team. I'm sure Navy is going to throw everything in their power at them. They're going to throw plays out they had no intentions of using this year, literally, because they can't out-talent UCF at the skill spots. I mean, it's not even competitive. They have nowhere near, not even in the same stratosphere, the speed that UCF does or the size. Like Brandon out at a receiver, he's 6'3", 200 pounds or whatever it is. He's going to get a back shoulder fade at some point. That's something that this young man can really do. Keene can throw the deep ball, and he can throw the fade. He can throw the back shoulder fade, all of it. They're going to use those things. So the only way Navy is going to get after him, this comes back to that leadership thing, we're going to blitz him. And UCF knows this too. This is not a rocket science adventure on my part here either. It's an open book. You get a first-time starter, you just never play generic plays one after another. You play man on one, you play man cover two over the top, then you have cover three, rat in the hole guy comes down at the last second or after the snap. They're going to throw everything at him, hoping to get a couple free picks. And quite frankly, there's a good chance they will. And that's the final part, and I'm going to leave on this. The coaches and the players now, we can talk about it from a leadership, because the coaches may not react very well to this either. Dylan didn't make those kind of mistakes. He was tremendous at reading coverages. That's fine. This young man's not going to be on Dylan's level because he hasn't been in a game. I don't give a darn if he can tell Gus in the middle of a meeting or DJ or anybody else, hey, this is the coverage. It's different when you've got a 255-pound outside linebacker about to smash you into the ground, and you still have to keep your eyes up, look down the field, and make a very accurate throw. And by the way, you're still going to get smashed. Your mind's probably not going to be as clear. That's college football. That's college football at the quarterback position. Can Mikey Keene do that? I have not the faintest idea. But that's why we talk about all the possible scenarios, things to look for. With that, again, I'm going to have a feature article on Mikey tomorrow and what we can kind of look at from a player perspective. I'm going to do another podcast, and I'm going to talk some about the film and what I saw in addition to the article. It's going to play off of it, but there'll be a few extra parts only in the video / the audio. There's going to be 2 different versions of the podcast. You can find it on YouTube 99% of the time, but you'll always be able to find the audio. It's on a couple of different places, Spotify and Apple. So you can find them there, and I'll post them to my Twitter as well. But I'm just really excited to kind of, I know I'm not happy that Dylan's hurt. Great guy. I hope the best for him in the meantime. But I'm really excited to see what Mikey can do because of this. So anyway, Brian Smith, publisher of Inside the Knights. I'm going to sign off. I hope everybody had a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And it'll be up fairly early by 8:30 in the morning. We'll have another podcast and a full article on Inside the Knights.